Hello friends, here with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm gonna play 1829. This is a very special game of the series, and by the way, it's by Francis Tresham, published by Heartland. And the reason why it is so special, most of you will probably know, because it is simply the first one of the 18XX series. This is the game which started a whole genre. And on BGG it says it was released on 1974. However, here it says 1982. So I'm a little confused here. Maybe you have an answer for that. Just leave a comment. I'd be curious when it actually was released. I haven't played the game until now, and to be honest, I haven't heard a lot of good things about it. The rating is still okay, but I think most of it is more for nostalgia reasons. But most people, the people that I've heard that played it, most of them said it's basically not a good game. But the reason that it is the first game is for me reason enough to simply do a playthrough. I definitely want to play it at least once. There's also no video about this game out there. At least I couldn't find any, so maybe some of you might be interested how this plays out. So before we start, my usual announcement, I'm not going to go into the rules of the 18XX system in general. I'm just going to explain the differences to 1830. And if you don't know 18XX at all, first please watch either my video of 1830 or, I don't know, any other explanation video about the system. Yeah, it seems I just, as I said, I haven't played that before, and I did the setup right now, and it seems to be complete, which is pretty awesome. The components are in great shape. Quality is fantastic. Little problem is here, there is actually a warping issue here, which isn't too great. Thought about placing acrylic on top, but I think I'm gonna try it without for now. And the second thing is, I couldn't find the director's share of this, but it seems to be complete anyway, because there are 9 certificates here. 3, yeah, these are 3, 6, yeah, there are 9 certificates. And I checked the table of contents, and it clearly says that all the companies come with 1 double share and 8 standard shares. So I kind of improvised here, sleeved the thing, and because I didn't want to ride on these old these old contents. So we see a map of the southern part of Britain. And what's kind of interesting, there is also a northern map. The game was basically released, or there were basically 2 boxes released of the game. The red one, which I have, is the southern one, and then there is a blue one, I think, which covers the northern map. And you can either play them both on their own, or you can also combine them. And I think there are also a few extensions available. We have, well, these are all the shares. I got to stack them up a little later. We have our tiles. And I was also a little bit surprised here. I thought, okay, maybe because this is the first game. Second, I'm going to place the lighting a little more like this. So I kind of thought, okay, maybe this is the first game, so we're going to see only the very basic tiles, you know, very simple stuff, maybe like in 1830 or so. Pretty restricted tiles. But this is actually not the case at all. We see a lot of tiles in general, and some of them are, well, your more extravagant tiles. No, stuff like this here, and I mean there is at least nothing and there are even gray tiles, which also kind of surprised me. I thought that was something that came later, but well, obviously not. We have also the double O's, although they are not named double O's, but they do exist. Also here, some special tiles for specific cities. We have our trains. They go from 2 to 7. And there is no 6th train, actually, I think. If I'm not mistaken here, let me check that. Yeah, there is no 6th train. So they go from 2 to 7. By the way, you can play this game up to, I think, 9 people. And it scales down. So if you play with less players, or I think if you play with 4 or less, you don't use all the companies. And also some of the trains are removed. I'm going to play a 6-player game. And oh yeah, here we have 2 banks. One is your standard banks of pounds, and it's a huge bank. It's $20,000. I'm even using these yellow 1,000 chips. This is really a big bank here, and I think it will probably take a while until this is empty. And then we have this bank here, which is only for company credits. So all the transactions done with players are done with this main bank here, and all the transactions that the companies do are done with this bank here. So as I said, I'm playing a 6-player game. Everybody starts with 420, and at the beginning the private companies are sold. They are not auctioned. They are simply sold. So the first player is offered this the Swansea and Mumbles for $30. If he buys it, then the second player is offered the next one, and so on. If someone passes, then simply the next player can buy the company. If everybody passes in a row, and the Swansea and Mumbled is already sold, or at least one company is already sold, then the companies simply will pay out their revenue, and there will be another stock round. Shares of public companies cannot be sold before all the privates are purchased. Or the shares of public companies cannot be purchased before all the privates are purchased. If nobody buys the Swansea and Mumbles, everybody passes, the price will be reduced by 5. So that follows kind of, at least at that point, the auction rules of 1830, except that there is no auction. The companies do not have a special, well, let's call it a special ability or something. The first one simply pays a revenue of 5. The second one, the Cromford and High Park, pays a revenue of 10. And it It operates up here. The Canterbury and Whitstable pays a revenue of 15 and operates down here. And we have the Liverpool and Manchester operating in these two hexes here. The companies block the hexes until they are closed. So you cannot sell the companies to major companies. You cannot sell the privates to major companies. That's not possible in this game. But you can sell them between players at any time, at any price you agree on. The interesting thing is that you can also close the company at any time. You can simply announce, okay, this company closes. From then on, it will not pay any revenue anymore, but it also will no longer block the hex, which might be, for example, interesting up here, or I don't know. So it could be interesting for other players to buy the company simply to be able to close it. In phase 4, let me see when that exactly is. Phase 4. Okay, that's when the gray tiles come out, when the first 4 train is... Wait a minute. That's a little odd. When the first 7 train is purchased. So that is pretty much at the end of the game. Then the private companies will all close anyway. But the face value still counts to your final result. So you don't have to discard them, you keep them, and they also do not count against the certificate limit. They simply stop paying revenue once they've closed. I have absolutely no clue how strong these companies are. I don't think they are terribly good. I mean, you gotta pay 210 for revenue of 20, and that's basically all. I mean, you might be able to sell these guys later in the game, but for now, on the other hand, you don't lose that money, right? That is something I have to understand. It's not like that the money goes away. Hard to tell. I think I'm going to simply roll on a 1 to 3. The people will buy the stuff. So this is offered to him, and he buys it for 30 bucks. So there we go. Next company is the Cromford and High Park for 75. He doesn't buy it. What about the next guy? He is interested, so he buys it. Then we see the Canterbury and Whitstable. Nope. What about him? Player 5. Nope. Maybe player 6 will buy it. And he's also not interested. So we go back to player 1. And he also wants that one for 130. And the last one for 210. Let's see, what about him? No. Well, I'm not sure this guy will do it. You know, he already spent 75 bucks. So let's say only on a 1 he will do this massive investment. And no, he's not. So we continue now with the next guy. And yes, he will buy it. So that's the Liverpool and Manchester. Okay, that's it. Easy. The 4 private companies have been sold. So no priority deal marker comes with the game, so I'm going to use that stone instead. And now, after the private has have been sold, there are now the shares of the public companies available and also the Steam packet lines. Now first let's talk about the Steam packet lines. These are also sold in ascending order. So the first one is 315 bucks, then 435, 570, 720 and finally 900 bucks. They pay a revenue which is not that awesome. You only get, basically a fairly small amount. But if a company has a marker in the port of the Steam packet line, then that company gets 40 bucks each operating round. So that's pretty cool. I just wonder if there are Holyhead, Preston. It seems like there is always just... I'm not sure. Where is Preston? Ah, that is here, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. I wonder, I mean, there is not always just a single dot there. So I wonder if it only applies to the companies whose president owns the Steam packet line or to every company. I gotta check that. Well, actually, it seems to apply to any company. So that's interesting. Some of these, for example, Dover, although you cannot go off map, so I don't think you can actually upgrade Dover, but some of them might be maybe upgradable. For example, Preston. I think you could bring a double city to Preston, and if that happens, it might be possible that more than one company might get the advantage of this, although only one guy paid for that. But okay, I mean, you still get at least a little revenue. Okay, so you can buy these as an action during your stock round, or one of them. And I think you cannot trade them though. The other option is you can buy a share of a public company. And here's the interesting thing now. You cannot choose which share to buy if you buy out of the initial offer. You always have to buy the top share, which means the companies will come out in numerical order from 1 to 10, and only when all the shares of a given company are purchased, the shares of the next company will be available. So the London and Northwestern Railway Company are sitting here. So they have the option to go here, which is, I think, Liverpool. I'm not really good in these English cities, but I think this is Liverpool. That is probably Manchester. Here we have London. This is probably Birmingham. And, well, some of the other names are written on the board. And yeah, I don't know the others. I simply don't know. So this guy will buy the presidency for $200. A company will float as soon as 6 shares are purchased. So this is nothing new basically. 60% are sold, and then there is a full capitalization. That means the company gets 10 times the par value, which is $100. So it will start with 1,000. And I think everybody is kind of willing to invest in this company. There is not really a reason not to do that at that point, I think. You can still sell the stuff, and it will make money pretty soon. It can make a connection here, so it will probably make money earlier than most other companies. An important aspect in this game is presidents are not liable for the assets of the company. So they don't have to buy a train. Companies do not even need to have a train. And you also can sell an unlimited amount of shares into the bank pool, so there is no limit of 50% or something. You can even sell the presidency into the bank pool. So therefore, there is no big risk. Companies won't get dumped on you or something like that. And also, if you sell a share, the share price will not drop. So as I said, there is really no risk. It's pretty much like in 1853, where you can also, you don't risk anything by buying shares. So therefore, everybody's going to invest here, I guess. This guy buys a 3rd share. By the way, the stock round here ends when everybody consecutively does not buy. So it's not just everybody passes, but everybody simply doesn't buy. Okay, you know what I just realized? They're not even sheets for the companies. That kind of sucks. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it out. Shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I might... Yeah, I think I'm simply going to write it there. I mean, I could also simply say, okay, I place the directorship here, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna forget it then. So, well, that's probably not a good idea. I'm simply going to write the line there. That is definitely not too great. Maybe I should actually place the directorship here. In this way, it's easier to distinguish. I think I want to do this. So the company will start. That one here. I hope I don't forget that. So the company starts with, you know what, I'm going to place all the shares that player holds. I think that makes most sense, yeah. Okay, so we get now $1,000 into the company. There we go. And then this guy here has priority, at least I think so. It should be this guy who has now priority because he holds only a single certificate. And yeah, I mean, he starts the second company, right? And there are not too many too many decisions to make here, I guess. So we can buy this one here for 180. You're not allowed to sell shares during the first operating round or first stock round. So at that point, this guy holds priority. Nobody has any money left. 2 companies exactly are sold out. The GWR also has floated with $900 in the treasury. The next company available is the Midland Railway, which starts right here. But as I said, right now nobody has any money. But people could sell shares in the next stock round and in this way maybe gain money, and maybe then they are interested to get a presidency, for example, of the Midland Railway. So let's go into the first operating round now. But I want to mark the. Wait a second. We got the black one here. That marks the par price, $100 over there, and then we got a dark green for these guys here. So these 2 companies have 6 tokens left now. One is sitting here. The starting token goes obviously on their starting space. This is company number 1. So where is that? Yeah, it's here exactly. There we are. Okay, and now things go a little crazy. Because what we have now is, this is not your standard tile placement, what we see here. What you gotta do is, in this game, you have a survey party. And a survey party is represented, it's represented by a token. So your survey party basically starts in your home station. And now you got to move that thing. And you can only move it, or you can move it in a straight line, or from a hex to an adjacent hex, basically in a straight line. But and you can move it as far as you want. That's pretty crazy, because in the next turn you will be able to place a tile on the space where you removed your survey party from. So basically, if let's say right now I start here, I'm going to move my survey party here. Even though there is no track or something, you can see that, right? I can just move the party here, just has to be in a straight line from my starting tile. Then I could remove. In the next turn, I can move the survey party again, for example, from here to, I don't know, here. And because I removed it from here, I can now lay a yellow tile on that space. In addition to that, I can lay that tile in any way I want. There has to be no connection to here or whatever. So that's pretty crazy. I can basically just go anywhere as long as I can reach the space with my survey party and place a tile there. There is an exception. I cannot place a tile on a space where there is also an another player's or another company's survey party. So the place has to be empty when I move my survey party away from it. In this way, other players might be able to protect themselves against really nasty tile placements from my side. But yeah, I think you can see, for example, I could simply go here and from here to here and kind of start trying to block this guy's access here to Birmingham if I want to do that. And he would be in trouble. I mean, but on the other hand, it doesn't really help me at all, because every player can only have a single service party or survey party, and or every company can only have a single survey party. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move with these guys here, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to lay the tile right now. I can only do this if I move the party again. Now I can run the trains, but I don't have any trains, and now I have the option to buy a train, but I don't have to do it. So the question is, do I want to do it? I think so, because then in the next turn I can run that train. I'm just not sure how many trains I actually want to purchase. I think right now I'm just gonna buy a single train. I don't really see a reason to buy more. Yeah, I think I'm only gonna buy a single train. Wow, I can see now these trains are expensive. We're talking $180 for a 2-train here. That's a lot of money, but okay. So that gives me then 320. By the way, the game ends when all the money of the bank is gone, right? That's the end of the game. You play until the end of this operating round. When that happened, there is no bankruptcy or other game end condition. So that was this company. The share value will drop 1 space because it didn't pay out. There's no surprise here. And now it's the other company, and they will start here. And they also use their survey party and simply move here. And I'm not sure if I want to buy a train, to be honest. Right now, I think I don't need a train. I cannot run a train that turn. So I might as well not buy a train right now and just, yeah, do nothing. So the share value will drop, and it will drop an additional turn, and it will drop 1 more in the next turn because I cannot run. That's not good. So technically it could be interesting for this guy to move down here and trying to block me out of Birmingham. Maybe he's gonna do that. As soon as this tile is laid, he could go there and place a tile here. That's pretty nasty, actually. Actually, I forgot to pay for the privates, so I definitely want to do that. And this guy gets $10, and this guy gets $20. There we are. So we go into the next stock round. And now things are already kind of getting interesting. For example, this guy could start selling his shares to start the Midland. It's sitting here, and it will also make money possibly pretty soon if you go down here. On the other hand, these shares will make money in the next turn. So I think I don't want to do that. More interesting are these shares here. The player who holds shares of the Great Western. Because I mean, this company has the potential to make more money because this will start with a 20 buck city and then connect to here, while this only starts with a 10 buck city and then connects to here. Still, I got a feeling, it's interesting. Maybe we'll find someone who actually wants to do that. I might roll some dice here. I think nobody wants to do it at the moment because basically, if you sell it now, you're going to lose money, right? You invested in the company and you already lost $8. And you cannot hurt other people by selling shares because the share price will not drop. Therefore, I think nobody at that point will do any any trade. I simply, maybe someone who, but nobody has the money. No, I mean, this guy is sitting at 70, at 80, but you know, maybe the people, the thing is, I'm considering, you know, I could sell a share of this and then maybe in return buy 2 shares, the presidency of the Midland. But then again, I have to, that won't be enough to float the company. So it doesn't give me any advantage. So nobody will buy anything. Priority stays here. And that means now the LNWR will operate. And they will now place a tile here because their survey company is there. And they're going to move it away. And that allows them then to place a tile there. And the question is now, I got basically 2 options here. I could either, for example, move the survey company down here, trying to build a route basically this way here to Holyhead, right? That could be an option. I could also move the company here. We got mountains here, and I could try to get to Manchester that way. Mountains are expensive in this game. You got to pay $160 to cross a mountain. It's hard to see, but you see the symbol here, the triangle, right? So it is expensive, but it would be an option. Now, the other interesting option that I just talked about would be to move down here and kind of try to block these guys. On the other hand, they could simply move up here instead. And so I'm not sure what's more clever, right? I could try to simply block them all the time. I'm making money, they won't. But maybe it's not a bad idea to do that. honestly. I mean, yeah, the others don't make any money and I am the one who does. So why not? I think I want to do that. I'm going to move down here. I can do that. But the thing is now, if this guy moves here in his next turn, and he can, so you can lay a tile here and then move here, that means that I'm not allowed to lay a tile there, because there is then another survey party. And because I got to go first, I have to move away, and then he can still lay his tile. So actually I don't have the option to block him. As I said, I'm playing this game for the first time, so I'm just exploring a little bit. So I guess that means I'm probably, I probably want to go here and try to build a connection here to Manchester. So we're going to lay a tile here, and you can see this is kind of a river or something. It's a water that divides the hex in two land areas. That's how water is defined. And laying a tile there cost me $40 from the company. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend $40. Oh shit, man, and I already started making a mistake. The money goes in here, and I get back 60 because of these company credits. I really should keep that in mind. So, that allows me now to lay a tile right here, and that means we have now a connection to Liverpool. And after we've done that, by the way, I could move the token onto a city. I could move it, for example, here, but I'm only allowed to do so if I'm willing to transform then the token into a station marker. So I could, if I move the survey party in here, I could now transform it into a station marker, and that would cost me $40 for the first station marker and $100 for all for later station markers. And then I would get a new survey party which would start again in my home station. Once I converted all my tokens into station markers, I'm not allowed to build any more track because I don't have any more survey parties, right? So we're gonna place the token here, and yeah, now we can run our first train, the 2 train. What's important here is a route can never end or start on a dot, so it can only the termini have to be big cities or cities. And what I find very interesting too is you cannot use cities that are blocked by other companies. And how I read the rules, it simply says you cannot use them for a route. It doesn't say you are allowed to stop there or you cannot drive through. It simply says you cannot use them. So I think you are totally not allowed to use them, even as a terminus, which makes it definitely harder. So yeah, we get a revenue of 50, so 5 per share, and we're going to pay out, which will increase the share value. So it's now the GWR, and Here's now the interesting thing. If I move here, and I can do that, of course, if this guy would now go here to block me, I could not lay a token. No, actually, yeah, because he would go first, so he would end up here, and then it would be me, and I could not lay a tile here to connect here. So that's interesting. By the way, two survey parties that shared a hex are not allowed to move from this hex into the same hex, right? So not both of them could move here, for example, except if they both move into a city to transform into a station. The thing is that this guy cannot move here because this is not in a straight line, so therefore I'm safe here, and I can now simply lay here the gentle curve and then connect to Birmingham. But right now I cannot run any trains, so therefore yeah, I can again not pay out. The share value will drop again, which sucks, obviously. No income for me. By the way, I remembered this time to pay the privates. So no share value for me, and yeah, again, it's the end of an operating round. We go into the next stock round. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to load this up. I don't know if people, I mean, maybe people might also collude to start a new company or something. That is definitely an option. But, you know, why? I mean, we're making good money here now in the next turn too. This company is already making money. So I think right now everybody is happy and we can simply wait. On the other hand, you know, I mean, the thing is, we are sitting on quite a bit of money. So maybe we could say, why not let's simply start a new company? So the question is someone willing to sell one of his shares? Because right now nobody has obviously the money to pay $164. But, for example, if this guy sells a share of the GWR, he could afford the presidency of the Midland. But, nah, I really don't know if it's worth it. Well, we'll see. Hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.